guys, and welcome back to Smells Like Teen Angst. Today we're going to be talking about Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, episode 7. We're almost to the finish line, guys. And as always, I am here with my lady friends, Keiki and Jordan. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello, governor.
So we are going to be talking about Pretty Little Liars episode 7. So if you haven't watched episode 7, don't watch this video. Make sure you watch it. Otherwise, unless you want to be spoiled and this is how you're getting the story is through us, then I'm here for that as well.
I'm not here for that because we're terrible at recapping the story, guys. We have great observations, but as far as like a straight up recap goes,
I know we don't straight up recap, but we did get compliments in the comments saying that great recap. So someone out there likes us. And I appreciate all of you and your amazing comments because you're pointing out things that we missed or clarifying things or like pointing out things for Pretty Little Liars. Because the only one on this after show that watched the original is Keiki. And, you know, it's a lot. Those 7 seasons. She can't remember everything.
I can't watch all of those.
I can't watch all of them again. And the last 3, I really don't have a desire to. So it's been nice that I have someone in the comments to kind of be like, oh, you right, girl.
Right.
You didn't think about that.
I know. A big thing, and I want to know your guys' opinion now that we're on episode 7. People are talking about how Tabitha was one of their favorite characters at first, and now they find her really annoying. I completely disagree. I really, really like her character.
I love Tabitha.
7.
Yeah.
So
I like Tabitha. She gives me like the scrappy energy of the show. So to each his own. We need someone to be on their soapbox constantly,
right.
On the high horse constantly. We need a Spencer. She's giving it to us.
She's giving Spencer. She's giving Vanessa from Gossip Girl. And I feel like, you know what these characters have in common? Correct me if I'm wrong. They were all women of color.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe people don't want to hear from women of color. That's all I have to say about that.
Jordan, quick to call people out. If you didn't see the TikTok, that was on there. I liked it. I'm just saying, if you're not following our Smells Like Teen Angst TikTok, please do. Because I put our
great content.
Our best of the best moments. We've recently posted some of our famous people that we've met and taken photos with. So I find us entertaining. Anywho. So let's dive in. We finally get Leah Salonga. She gets Mouse's mom. Gets her first little letter from A inviting her to the carnival, to the Hall of Mirrors at the fair. And this flashes back and we see this one. I was like, this is rude. This is all so rude. They're all so rude.
They're all awful.
Mouse's mom is in the Hall of Mirrors in 1999 and she's kissing Angela because we know like Mouse's mom is queer. And when they get caught by Davy, she's like, oh my God, Angela attacked me. I was attacked. And I'm just like,
I had to rewind this multiple times because I didn't know who the younger versions of the actors were. So it took me like 2 or 3 times to be like, oh, wait a minute. She just straight up lied on this girl. Because, and I will say it has in my notes, I was like, there's a carnival. Is it gay? Question mark, question mark. And then the girl started kissing. I said, it's gay! Exclamation point, exclamation point. And then when she's like, oh, she attacked me, I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. I will say, I do think that this is the lower of the offenses. I still think Corey wins with having Angela get a tattoo. But, you know, that's permanent. That was permanent and expensive.
Well,
but I was just like,
if Angela had lived longer, that could have been permanent because people trying to figure out their sexuality can leave big scars depending on how it's done. And I really think that if Angela was genuinely trying to explore her sexuality, and then Leah Salonga just flipped on her and was like, she attacked me. That will hurt your brain.
Yeah.
Not only that, but also to be at that age and exploring things and then have someone kind of put you in a corner or make you feel less than or a different way for something that they are equally participating in is messed up. And that also gives weight to it for me because that's just, it's too far. all the things they did to Angela, and mind you, I am of the age group, like as a millennial, you know, popularity was a thing when I was in school. I
Right?
know from the kids I know
Oh,
today, from my nieces and
yes.
nephews, like the dichotomy of it is not the same anymore. It's not like the people who are popular are like the kids who can code. Like it's weird, you know? And
And that's what I think that we're the perfect age actually to review this show, because we can straddle a line between the generations. And we know that like what they were doing was so fucked up to Angela, but
Yeah.
also we saw it happen in real life. We participated in this kind of garbage.
we did, and we were victims of some of this type of garbage. So that's why it kind of hits home for me, because I've been not necessarily in Angela's situations, but I've been played by girls who pretend to want to be my friends
Yes.
and like put you through all types of hell and leave you at parties and like, you know, embarrass you for absolutely no reason, when really all you're trying to do is gain female friendship, which is incredibly valuable and so important. And by acting that way, all you do is create like anti-feminism.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I don't know if y'all have this, like your bullies from school are now trying to like friend you on things. You're like, why? Why
All the
would I
time.
ever
All the
reinvite
time. And
you
I'm
into
like,
my life.
And they're all
live
nurses.
different lives. No.
They're all nurses are trying to sell me like a vitamin or something. And I'm just like,
They're all in MLMs. They're MLM nurses.
should y'all really be taking care of people? Because I don't think you have the emotional maturity to anyway.
Unless you're trying to apologize to me, I don't want to hear it. Anyway, speaking of nurses, Farron's mom is fine and she's discharged from the hospital. And so she's just going to be around for a while because she's a little injured. She's okay. She's okay. I'm going to start with like Imogen and Tabitha before they break them apart, because they still need to tell the girls this information from Rosewood, right? And I love that everyone's like reaction to the news, and they're like, why is A coming for us then? We have nothing to do with this. You're like, why did A kill Karen? They're just as confused as we are. And I love that Noah's like, it's the sheriff. The sheriff went under.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I love that Noah finally tells what she knows about the sheriff, because again, like we said in episode 6, they have all these little dangling threads and they're starting to bring them back around and create this little braid for us and show us like, hey, they're not dangling. We're doing something with this story.
exactly.
Yes.
And let's intertwine it. Let's air all these adults' dirty laundry, because they are the original sinners here.
Mhm.
And I like that the girls, even though they're being dragged right now, they're still trying to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Like, why would this occur in the first place? And how are my parents involved if I have to, you know, basically take the weight of it?
Yeah. Imogen is having, I didn't ever do this in school. I don't know if you guys
I
did.
was going to ask, did anyone ever do? If you did this in the comments, tell us, because at this point, I'm convinced that this and Sadie Hawkins are something that television just made up to fuck with us. Did you ever do a fake baby project?
Never.
I went to like the best public schools in the county, and I never fucking did this.
We didn't do the baby. We didn't have the egg. We didn't do any of that.
Okay, home ec 2, you got a baby at my school. So it's if you chose to take home ec again. I know this, 'cause I remember my friend Barbara, I have no idea where you are, girl, shout out to you, had a baby, and she got the one black baby at the school, and she named it Keiki. And you had to like, turn it to feed it, and it was like a whole thing, and she was stressed after a week of having this baby.
Amazing.
And Sadie Hawkins, we did have at my school, and it was the blacklight dance, and it was so much fun.
Didn't do that either. I went to 2 different high schools. We didn't do any of this. Like,
the only egg project I had in school was in middle school. One of our science teachers had this weird project where you had to drop an egg off of like 3 stories, but try to create some sort of container for it so the egg wouldn't break.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do any of that either.
Yeah, we did that in physics. We also did the like build a boat out of paper and try to get
did that. I did that one.
Yeah, I did that
one. I got my Georgie on for sure. I didn't, but that's it.
I don't.
Paper airplane project. Oh my God. I have to apologize for the fucking middle school teacher I had during the paper airplane project, because he was very attractive, to my little 12-year-old brain, and I kept trying to talk to this man who was a grown man. And now I realize how inappropriate I was being because he was a grown man. But thank God he had morals because he kept telling me, girl, get away from me. Go somewhere else.
Amazing. Good for
mean,
him. He's not a West. He's
I
not
found
a
excuses to
Ezra.
talk to my assistant because he was pretty cute. For a white man too. And he would fill out them pants. Daddy had
Right?
cake, okay? And I was like a little 15-year-old, 16-year-old in school, like, man, I just love that this man is always standing in front of the school with these tight ass pants saying good morning.
I had one or two science teachers who I wouldn't leave alone, and I was terrible at science, y'all, but I would not leave these men alone. And thank God they were moral grown men because they were like, girl, if you don't get the fuck away from me, you don't know science.
You don't know science. All right, let's get through this. We apologize to our teachers that we were a little aggressive to. Imogen gets partnered with Chip, which it adds to my thing from last week of like, Tabitha's mom is asking Imogen like if she's even thought about if she's going to keep the baby. Does she want her to make an appointment to go to an adoption agency? And so she says sure. And then A messes with Imogen a little bit, and I don't know why he's now messing with her because she's got the baby. It's crying. She goes to like the secretary, and she's like, "Will you watch it? I just have to pee." And then the baby goes missing, and Chip helps her find it. Just saying. He's like, just be quiet. And the baby has like a little note that's like, you're a terrible mother. And I think that's like, why?
Too much. That's really rude. That's really messed up, eh?
Like,
Also, you asked
you really left it with someone to be responsible.
Like, she's not being irresponsible. She said, watch my kid.
Yeah. She left
The
it with
secretary was being irresponsible.
Exactly. You can flat out say you don't want to watch someone's kids.
Right? I have declined
people love to
babysitting more than once.
People love to ask me to watch their children at the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there in the waiting room minding my business, and they go, I have to pee. Will you watch her? Will you watch him? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Go pee, ma'am.
the baby with you. Anyway, Chip goes with her to the adoption agency and like pretends to be the baby's child because he's like, I feel like you needed support. I feel like you needed something.
I forget exactly what he said, but there was something he said during that scene when they were leaving that made me write down, is Chip A? And I forget what it was, but he said something like when they're like in the car, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, ooh, that's a little shady.
I know. He's a little like, he's been in love with Tabitha for like 3 years, but now all of a sudden he's like got this weird interest in Imogen, and I don't like it. But he asks her to the carnival. And Imogen's like checking in with Tabitha just to make sure, like, I know he's your bro, he's your friend, like, but is he more? And Tabitha's like, no, oh my God, go take it, do it. And I'm like, okay, we're going to let this happen. I like Chip. I think he's precious. He's from another show that I watch, but also I don't like it.
Everyone's a suspect.
Everyone's a suspect.
That is a suspect. That's the whole thing. We're too busy playing the blame game.
I'm pointing all the fingers, okay?
Even I have to check myself. I'm like, did I just get mad at Imogen? No. I need a chill. That doesn't automatically make her A because she's not ready to share her trauma. Calm down.
She shared it later. She's like, I remember last.
She shared it later, but like I had to check myself on that.
Yeah.
So, like, she's A. She's doing it for attention.
It's because we're watching a mystery and everyone's a suspect.
Everyone's a suspect.
Tabitha, Agatha Christie, you ruined it for all of us.
Tabitha gets assigned another film that she needs to make, which is something that's happened in their life that has only happened to them, that they can, a story they can only tell. And Tabitha is continuing to have these horrific assault daydreams, and this next one is about Wes, and I loved her stabbing him with a pen because he's such a creep, and I was like, look at that terrible little fake hand, and it's fine because it didn't really happen. And then she like goes back to the scene of the crime, and she's imagining A is attacking her. Like, Tabitha's losing it a little bit throughout this entire episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel for her because even, when you sometimes disclosing your trauma can open the door to it again, and it makes you think about it more and more. And I think maybe that's where she might be, where she disclosed and now she's just thinking about it a lot. And that's difficult,
Absolutely. Yeah. And, Imogen suggests that she go talk to the female cop about it because she kind of remembers a little more than she does. And, maybe she just like, maybe other people have come forward. And so she goes to the police station and instead she gets douche McDouche and he questions her about Tyler disappearing. And she's like, why would I know anything about Tyler? We are not even friends.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. Noah hooks her, she's running track and the coach hooks her up with a trainer and the trainer gives her an inhaler. Now I had an inhaler because I had like exercise induced asthma. So I didn't think that this was like an upper or like a drug of some kind to help her. And that's what they've turned this inhaler into. And I'm confused.
It's giving Saved by the Bell when Jesse has the caffeine pills.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm so scared.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's and like her boyfriend's like, oh yeah, he gives the inhaler to like these guys because it puts more oxygen in your blood. I'm like an inhaler is supposed
That's what it's supposed to do. That's what inhalers do.
That's what
I'm like, they're turning this thing into like a drug thing, and I think it's really strange.
Also, like if you, a normal and unasthmatic person, took a puff of my inhaler, would it feel like a rush to your body? Like,
no, because
No.
I will say most of my friends growing up had asthma, and one time I was curious, and I did take a hit off of an inhaler. It didn't do anything.
No, it does
At
not.
most, it made me cough because it wasn't for me, and I was like, "Oh wait, what? More air? My lungs have enough air. I don't need this."
I know.
I imagine like inhalers is icy hot for your lungs. Like you put it in and it's like, like
It felt like I knew immediately that I didn't need it, and it didn't make me feel good in any kind of way.
And but when you're asthmatic, that's when you
That's what you need.
know when you need it because you're like, yo, I can feel the stress in my lungs. Maybe I need to hit my inhaler.
Yeah, it's what they're trying to like start a drug thing with her, and I'm like, that's dumb. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Farren, her mother is like, what do you think? I crashed the car. She's like having her mommy dearest moment and like totally blaming the whole thing on her and her photo and the bio. And I'm like, you guys need to calm down. And then Farren confronts her mom about the surgery. She's like, I never needed it. So you're just having this like wicked energy fight that's like, I kind of love it because I love seeing her stand up for herself that she hasn't done in so long.
I like it. I don't love it because again, my issue is I don't like how immature these parents are, and the fact that she's going to approach it and that it's your fault, you did this, blah, blah, not take ownership of what she did. I'm just like, this is why A is after all, y'all.
Because y'all don't know how to be responsible.
Exactly.
And this like, and poor, like, and Farren now goes on this like really sad like story arc, I feel like, through this episode. Cause like, Kelly's blaming her and her boyfriend, I want to call him Henry, but I don't think that's right, like for the attack on her. Farren's talking about how much pain she's been in for the last 8 years. And Henry snitches on her to the teacher and the teacher sends her to a specialist. And now she like has to do PT. He's like, the surgeon or this PT guy is like, the specialist is saying the surgery was 100% a mistake. And now she has to go back to wearing a brace and she has to quit dance for 6 months. And I'm just like, this poor girl has had everything ripped from her. And she's like a phoenix. She's going to rise from the ashes of what her life was.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom is just sitting there like she's done nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely agreed. I definitely think that Farren's story arc got really sad this week, and I'm hoping that in future weeks it can build up into something more empowering, because I think when we saw Farren last, she was in a very empowered place. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of shitty that they took that from her.
I feel like she's going to come out like stronger and better than ever, but that's
$1 Million Man style.
Boom.
Ups then downs. Up then downs.
It's a roller coaster life. Mouse, we get a lot about Mouse because this is now the Mouse centered episode. Leah Salonga with her thing in the carnival. We learned that when she was like 5 years old, she was at the carnival and she walked away from her parents, and a stranger, offered her cotton candy and was like walking away from her. And this is why her mother is so crazy, and they go out of town every year of the carnival. And this is kind of a little bit more as to why Mouse is doing what she's doing. She was almost kidnapped, and her way of processing it and dealing with it is to try and help other parents who weren't as lucky. And it's a weird thing to do. I don't completely agree or understand it, but
I'm not going to judge people for how they cope with their trauma, but at the same time, this is a very dangerous way to cope with your trauma. And that's really what we find out, because clearly the guy who, what was she calling her? Rachel? The Rachel dad can't get over it. Mouse ends up having to confront him at work and being like, yo, I can dox you. Leave me the F alone.
Mhm.
But it gets even weirder because we find out that Rachel's dad is like in a support group with Mouse's mom. And then I was like, who is A? Is A involved in the support group? What is happening? Mouse's mom gets a text from A. It's a whole thing. So
Mhm.
like, girl, I'm not judging you for your trauma, but also I'm going to need you to find a healthier coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, hands got dirty this episode too, which is
Mhm.
beneficial, because I, again, want to get to the meat and bones of what all the parents have done, or why the parents are all who they are. So I'm glad that we get to see a little bit of
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And like A, just like with Farren, sends Mouse a text saying like, the man who tried to take you, not a stranger. And so it's like Mouse's whole little world is about to get blown up
Mhm.
throughout the rest of this episode. So since we're on this Mouse tip of hers and the man who tried to take you, let's dive into the carnival and talk about what happened with Mouse at the carnival. So her mom gets a text, like you mentioned, I think, Keiki, that you're not being honest and your worst fears will come true. And so Mouse and Ash go into the maze, the Hall of Mirrors at this thing, and A is in there
And scary.
being scary.
If there's anything I learned from horror movies, it's don't ever go into a hall of mirrors.
Don't do
It
it.
never,
Mhm.
it doesn't fucking work, man. Like every horror movie, every teenage show, every thriller, anything that has a carnival setting, people go into the hall of mirrors and bad things happen. Don't fucking do it.
Every time. Never fails.
Yep.
Also, look at the floor. Look at the floor. It'll lead you out. That's my only tip I got. I do kind of love that, like, you know, A is watching all over the entire carnival and then goes into the House of Mirrors and then is running through the maze like a track star, and it looks like a
And
weekend
A's
video.
running purple.
He's running
A
so
is
fast.
moving,
Why
hauling
was he not
ass
running that
that day.
fast when he was trying to get Noah?
Exactly. I was like, you was on your Jason Voorhees stomp walk when you were after Noah, but you're in this Hall of Mirrors running at full speed,
He
sir.
was doing
I
the
don't
whole Tom Cruise. I expected to hear like the sound. You know, like the running man. He was going.
I know. It was crazy. And I was just like, they get out and she runs into her mom, and then her mother confesses the truth that the man wasn't a stranger, that man was actually her father, and that her mother was a surrogate who didn't give them the baby.
Look, I'm all for a Little Fires Everywhere story. And there are points when I would be on Mouse's mother's side. In for instance, Little Fires Everywhere, this woman was just pregnant, and then somebody tried to buy her baby, and then she decided, you know what, I'm not going to sell my baby, I'm going to keep it, whatever. But
That's different.
that's different than holding someone else's child and then deciding that you aren't going to give them their child. And I understand they didn't do the paperwork legal way. It's cheaper to do it the way they probably did it, you know, because surrogates are
But
$50,000 to $100,000, you know.
it was a surrogate the way that we're thinking of it, surrogate, because you have to have had like 2 kids before you can be like an actual surrogate. I think that she was an egg donor who would have carried the baby. So I do think that Mouse is biologically her daughter. However, she had some sort of agreement with the father that she did not honor.
Right.
Exactly. I
Yes.
think that's the case there. Like, it's not a case like Little Fires Everywhere, where it was like this person just wanted to get rid of their baby and give it a good home because they wanted to continue living their best life without a child.
Right. No, the man was her biological father. I agree. That's Mouse's mom. And probably his wife maybe couldn't carry children. So they did a down and dirty surrogacy, and she ran away with the baby. And she's like, we don't know if he was actually trying to take you, but we kind of freaked out because we knew who he was. And now Mouse is like, I have a dad and he's here.
He exists.
He exists.
Mouse, I've never had any idea.
Jordan.
Everybody's a suspect.
Yeah. And maybe that's why this guy is so crazy that Mouse just recently did a favor for, pretending to be his child.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a lot. And a lot of messed up.
It's really messed up.
It's a way to put more weight on her mother of not being a good person.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Because real messed up. Rosewood boys show up at the carnival, and I thought it was really funny when Noah's the one who stops this fight. Like, this the way it happened. I cackled. She was like, and I thought it was really good.
Because Noah's hella mature in ways that she should not have to be, man.
I know. I just kind of loved that moment. Chip and Imogen have this super weird conversation where he's like, would you ever date me? And she's like, no, I would never want to date you. And he's like, but I'd want to date you. She's like, well, no, I really do. I would want to, and then they like make out. I'm just like, what just happened? What was this weird non-conversation?
I mean, I got it. I feel like Imogen puts herself in a box because she's pregnant.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah, no one puts baby in a corner. She's like, I'm pregnant. I shouldn't be out here, trying to find a man and experience relationships and blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah,
that's not my place at this moment. She succumbs to those feelings where she's like, yeah, I'm a normal teenage girl too, who didn't really get the opportunity to be this person because I was assaulted and now I'm pregnant. Like,
yeah,
which nobody knows.
And I like that he is just like, I was in love with my best friend for 3 years, and I realized I'm like, got to know you more through the baby thing. And he's like, and I really like you. There's other fish in the sea. I don't know. So, you know what I mean? It was just like, why would you confess that to her in that moment?
It's just that whole conversation was very weird. Which I guess talking about your feelings is weird, but I don't know, man.
Because he's honest. I don't know. But I did think it was cute when Imogen comes home and tells Tabitha like all about the date, and like he's like, and we kissed. And it was very cute. It was very like bestie.
And they like girl about it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute. That's such a good friendship moment. That's what we do,
Mm-hmm. And then that's where the nicknames come from. Because like you give a bad kiss and then all of a sudden you become Dribble.
You know what? Well, I was thinking about, do y'all remember when I dated that guy that we called Garbage? Because he was literally a terrible person. And I was like, but I can fix him though.
Look, everyone gets a nickname. It's like the conversation is never just between the two. It's and like men have learned this. It's between the group chat. Like that's
the group chat. Yeah,
that's it. The cliffhangers of this episode is like Mouse shares the news about her moms with the girls, which I think is nice. And then they all get a group text. Finally, we get another group text for the girls. And it is a photo of a dead Tyler. And that's how this episode ends. And I'm just like, oh, so he is dead.
In his Smurf costume.
Smurf costume.
Poor thing.
What a way to go out. Dang.
I know. But it was still a really good moment in that episode. It's still my favorite episode, the Halloween one.
Yeah.
I hate it so far.
But also, I'm gonna need to know more because A's killing people, and I need to know: are you just killing bullies or?
Right, but A hasn't killed anyone since that episode, though. She's A's like dropping truth bombs right now.
Exactly,
and running very quickly.
Like a weekend video.
A is using all the energy to run.
Yeah.
I'm just saying she killed ultimate bully Karen. Mm-hmm. She made Noah trash her mom, you know, and now she killed Tyler. Well, he, I don't know, whatever A is. They killed Tyler. And then I'm just trying to wonder, like, is this a part of your original group of people that you're going to murder, or do they tie into the story somehow and tie into the girls?
I'm starting to think that maybe they do tie into the story because A is trying to get justice against bullies. If we really think about what the moms did to Angela, that was bullying.
100%. Like, no doubt about it. But it's going to be interesting because now we know everything about, not everything, but now we know like the bits about each mom, right? We now have a story point about each one of them of what they did to Angela. We have
Tabitha's mom?
Tabitha's mom.
Yeah.
Wait, is she the only one we don't have? I thought we had her.
Yeah, we don't
remember
have.
what
We
it
don't
would
necessarily
be.
have. We have
Tabitha-
group things. We have.
Yeah,
We
the
don't
group,
have.
Davy
we have
and
group
Tabitha's
things.
mom is all group stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we have, the tattoo, we have the kiss, so
The
it's like
cigarettes.
the cigarettes.
Yeah.
So we could count the group things as the other two, unless they're going to get deeper into Tabitha's mom, which
We
could
got
happen
3 more
next week.
episodes.
But we'll see. We got 3 more episodes. They're all going to drop at once. We got this. We're going to do
Lord
this.
help us.
Lord help us, but we
Lord
can do
help
it.
us. Let's figure it out.
We're going to figure it out, and hopefully it ends really great. But I am loving it. I'm loving this show. I think it's so fun. I didn't watch the original Pretty Little Liars, but if it was anything like this, I would have enjoyed it too. So
As the homies and I used to say in college, I'm loving it like McDonald's.
I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
So that's all I got for episode
Yeah.
7. Do you guys got anything else you want to say?
It was fast. It was a good one. It was
Yeah,
just good and fast. We got it moved.
It moved. It gave us everything we needed.
I'm loving also in these last 2 episodes, we've really gotten a use of different spaces other than that dark, dingy ass school. So appreciate that too.
Yeah. And I like they brought Rosewood back in. So I thought that was fun too with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right, ladies. So until next week for the final 3 episodes, y'all keep commenting. We love your comments. They're amazing. Subscribe, like, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. And we'll see you for the final 3 episodes. Bye.
Bye.